All right, welcome in, guys. First Garden Report, first post-game Garden Report of the season. We've been doing a bunch of stuff, obviously following a ton of the goings-ons around the team. First, Joe Mazzulla head coaching game. First opportunity for Bobby Manning to head down to the Garden, which is where he is right now. Josue Pavone there as well. It's going to be a short post-game show. I know a bunch of you want to go watch the Patriots and do other things, but I mean, my goodness, Bobby, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the 41 assists or the 22 threes or the 23 turnovers or the 29 fouls, or the 134 points? Whatever you can, whatever the Celtics did today, they did in excess. There was a lot going on. There was a lot going on in this game. But
bunch of guys played, bunch of guys
played. Yeah, the thing, the overall theme that I like the best out of everything here, because again, how much are you going to put into regular season performances? I mean, preseason performances. Some, and there's certainly some people who you can see like, oh, he didn't do that last year. Grant Williams being one of them. But first real look at Malcolm Brogdon. Overall, my overarching theme, I like the pace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this just goes to show for everyone who has questions about Joe Mazzulla's coaching acumen and is he ready for this from an X's and O standpoint, they're out there doing good stuff offensively, scoring 134 points the first time he steps into that coaching seat. So this is about the talent of this team, and man, do they have a lot. I mean, we've nitpicked their center depth and the wing depth and all of that. This is about as flexible of a Celtics team as we've ever seen, and it was on display here. The amount of ball handlers, creators. You had Horford creating out of the post early. You had Brogdon with the second unit, throwing passes everywhere. A little bit of Pritchard, a little bit of Hauser and Grant in between. I mean, everybody was dishing assists in this one, including the guards who started the game. So I think there's a lot more positive out of this one than negative. Are nitpicks that you can go at, whether it's the turnovers, whether it's the size of that starting lineup and how they transition to that. They definitely got hit on the boards early pretty badly. But offensively, they just took out the flamethrower starting in that second quarter and just let it rip for the entirety of that game. And the Hornets really couldn't keep up talent-wise. So this is what we're dealing with, John. The head coach is gone. A few key injuries. But this team is still talent-wise head and shoulders over much of the league. They're going to have a few key contenders in the East, obviously. There's still a few powerhouse teams in the West. But this team, talent-wise, core-wise, is still right up there with the contenders, as you saw here today.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not ready to say it after one game, but on paper, everyone loved. On paper, you loved what they did. You loved Brogdon. You loved Gallinari. It's not here. You loved Rob Williams. He's not here. So you really have to see it because you need multiple things in order for them to kind of actualize their potential and be as good as some people think they'll be. You need a bunch of things. You want Tatum and Brown to continue to make strides towards their best version of themselves, wherever that's going to be. Their prime is coming in a year or two. You want to see them come as close to it as possible. So you want to see continued improvement overall in their games. Jaylen Brown looked like he was in midseason form. He's talked about this being a big year for him. I thought last year was going to be a big year for Jaylen, to tell you the truth, coming in, where I thought he'd kind of even up, level up with Tatum in terms of, the 1 and the 1, not the 1 in the 1A or the 1 in the B sort of guy. You got to see how Malcolm Brogdon looks. Again, I'm not saying old, but he's 29. You want to see how he looks in this offense with these pieces. You wanted to see Rob Williams level up. You want to see Grant Williams level up. Grant Williams, after just a snapshot, 15, 20 minutes, looks like he absolutely leveled up. You talk about people going in the lab and working on stuff. Grant, one of the things he talked about, I think it was a couple days ago, Bobby, when you were down there covering the team, was he's trying to do more stuff off the dribble, add things to his game, not just be a guy who stands in the corner and knocks down threes. How many good things did he do off the dribble today, both in terms of a couple of finishes, a really nice lefty one off the glass in the first half, and driving and dishing. He did drive closeouts a little bit better last year than he had the year prior, but he looked like he had added a lot of elements to his game.
Yeah, and the offense as a whole, I thought, worked good on 3 levels. You were working it from the top to the middle, down low to the basket, or sometimes they'd go from the top to the post, where Tatum and Horford had some good passes out to the perimeter for threes. And this was like a record-setting kind of three-point performance from this team. So they've obviously upgraded in terms of shooting overall, too. But I like what Grant does in between there. I think Horford, getting him the ball, the amount that they did early in this game was great to see. And Hauser even made some nice secondary passes in between. I'm sure we'll get to him at the end of this game, but he looked incredible. So there's real offensive depth on this team. There is. And
so
the pace, to your point, they worked the ball into that offensive zone super quickly. Everybody, right? Pretty much everybody was funneling the ball right out past half court once they got it.
Yeah. So, and you talk about, it's all about hopefulness, right? Preseason is brand new. It's like, you know what you have. You know who Marcus Smart is. You know who Horford is. You know who Tatum is. You know who Brown is. Even if none of them improve even a lick, you know that they're outstanding players and you know what they're going to bring on a nightly basis. You know, leveling, you want to see them level up, certainly the younger guys, just because you want to see how high this team can go. But you know what you've got there. Brogdon is, you know, for all intents and purposes, a proven commodity. Are there other things you want to see? Yeah. You want to see, can Hauser actually play rotation minutes and not get buried here defensively because he's not able to hang? That's certainly, I mean, he didn't look lost out there. And when he's hitting his first 5 threes, that's really what it comes down to, is if he's making threes at that, certainly not at an 83% clip, but if he's knocking down all of those open looks, yeah, you can live with not ideal defense, because you do need some specialists out there to do that. And it really does add an element. You look at Kevin Gelly, and I know it's early in the game. Our new guy, our Kevin Gelly. I love this. It's early in the show to be talking about him, but I mean, what you want him to be able to come in, provide electric minutes off the bench when Rob is out. Is he a Rob replacement? No. Could he be a Tice replacement? Maybe, you know?
Yeah, he's a better shooter than Tice, I think.
I don't know about that, but he did knock one down today. But I mean, he's athletic as hell. He gets after it. He's very, very aggressive. Kind of what I thought we were getting out of Bruno Fernando last year, but he never really got any run. I kind of see some similarities there, both like just a slightly undersized, but a lot of hops and a lot of energy.
Yeah, for sure. And I got a chance to talk to him at practice the other day. We have that up on Celtics All Access. Good energy, good mind. He's I think we talked about this over the summer, Dikembe Mutombo's nephew. So he's got good pedigree there, great size, physicality. They've loved him in practice. And there's certainly room for him to play now, right? Luke Cornett on the bench with the injured ankle. They're bringing in Blake, who I guess was here in uniform today, but hasn't officially been signed. So this was his day, and he did a lot with it. Offensive rebounding's his thing. Rolling and getting above the basket is certainly his thing as well. And he can do a little of that pick and pop stuff too. So great physicality there. I mean, in terms of a two-way signing, that's a high level signing. I feel like he's kind of a end of a roster guy in terms of his talent, and he was drafted pretty high in his draft as well. So at the very least, let's say he doesn't play at all in the NBA. It's a good asset to have with J.D. Davison in Maine, catching lobs and playing some pick and roll with him. And if there's an emergency and you need a guy at the 5, he could be that guy. And listen, I'll give him a chance against Cornett. We'll see what happens there. I'm high on Cornett, but you get injured early, a guy can pass you by. And I did get a chance to talk to Luke in the locker room before the game, and he says this is looking a little more short-term than it seemed. You know, the swelling's gone down. I know It was 1 to 2 weeks that they were talking about, so it looks like he'll be back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and so look, and exactly that is, look, you're talking about, you know, you're going to play matchups, you know, with the bigs. There's going to be certain guys you're going to need a little bit more height. There's going to be teams you play against where you can get by with one big or some Grant minutes or even some Tatum minutes, you know, as a center in a small ball lineup, and you can get away with that. And that's just what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to piecemeal it together without a real rotation of bigs and just fit the pieces wherever they fit. So again, early sign from what you saw from the guys here. Yeah, sure. I like it, but they got murdered on the defensive glass. That's going to be an issue without Rob there.
So let's start there.
That's going to be a real issue. And the reason I didn't want to make a big deal out of going small, a lot of us wanted to go single big 3-guard or 3-wing lineup last year and most of the year before, until double big just started murdering people, and then everyone had to just shrug their shoulders and say, okay, well, that's their identity. But it's double big only because Rob exists. Otherwise, double big doesn't really work for this team. So this team might have to lean into a different identity. You start Derek White tonight, and the reason I didn't make a big deal about it, Bobby, is last year they started Bruno Fernando at the 4 in the first preseason game, and we were like, is this something?
No, it was Herman Gomez.
Oh, they started Herman Gomez. Sorry. They started Herman, and everyone's like, is this something they might do? And of course it wasn't. So, but whether it's D. White or Brogdon or something like that, or Grant, it's possible that you're going to get a smaller-ish lineup to start here.
Yeah.
But they really got slaughtered against a team that is not physically imposing up front.